MGK and Eminem on the same song. Can Jelly Roll make it happen? I don't know. I don't know if this dude thinks how he's gonna do it, but apparently he thinks he can do it. So let's watch this and find out.
You have
how
a song with MGK. You also have a song with Eminem.
Yeah.
Oh,
These guys are mortal enemies.
Yeah.
And somehow
I wouldn't say they're mortal enemies, but I mean, if you don't know, MGK did say some shit about Eminem's daughter a few years back, and there was a little beef between them. I wouldn't call it massive. They, M hit him with some shit, then MGK dropped some shit, which it was cool. Beat was cool. Lyrics were Um, but it was nothing super major, but it dominated for ages as like the rap beefs and shit. I think it was probably bigger than, maybe not bigger than Drake, Kendrick, but it was still pretty damn big. It was entertaining for like a week, but after that, nothing happened. But I'm curious to see how, or if he thinks he's gonna be able to get them to work together, because Eminem tends to hold a grudge like forever.
you are
Like
so
Ja Rule.
talented that
He said
you are
one
positioned
thing.
in between both of them, and they're like, I still want to work with Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Man, the first thing is honesty,
Okay.
right? You got to come into both parties honest.
How do you talk to M?
Well, so Paul is, and I always bring up Paul in interviews because I feel like he never gets brought up enough. for
Paul
what
is
he's-
Paul Rosenberg,
Yeah, Paul
Eminem.
Rosen-
Gotta love Paul. Paul has been around. Like, I think I started listening to Eminem, forever ago. I don't know how long ago, but I was like this big, and I remember hearing about Paul all the way back then. It's probably been 20 plus years. I don't know how long Paul's been Eminem's manager, but I mean, I feel like those two dudes really, really must like each other to stick together that long. That's
been Eminem's
unheard of.
manager
Like,
since Eminem's
really
had
in
a
the music
manager.
industry.
Okay.
Lifelong Detroit homie kind of shit. Like
Yeah.
really cool inception story.
Yeah.
Cool story about Eminem is his I believe his publicist, his assistant who kind of runs the record label. I don't want to call her assistant because she's so much more.
Sure.
So you don't really talk to, he's the wizard, man. He's the biggest selling
course.
artist of our generation. He sold more records than Elvis. You know what I mean? I mean,
Wow.
it's insane when you think about how big.
I mean, just to think about how big Elvis actually was. Like, and the thing is, Elvis died young, too. So, if Eminem was to, like, keep going for, like, another decade, and then eventually, when he's no longer here, will his legacy transcend music more so? Kind of like Pac's did, Like, Pac was around for, like, Pac was only around for, like, 4 or 5 years. Like, really. And, like, I think he died 97, I think? 96, 97? And it's 2025, and he's still...
You don't really get to see the wizard a
remembered
lot.
as, like,
Yeah.
the
But
GOAT.
I've seen the wizard now and hung out with him, and he's a fucking great guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's really down to earth. He's super honest, and he's very intentional with his words. And
Yeah.
we hung out on video set for 12 hours,
Wow.
just like dicking around. To show you his personality, he walks in my green room going, "Somebody shave me. I need some Gillette." He said, "We can get you a deal there." Paul has always been trying to get me and M together. Like every time I've seen Paul, he's like, if Marshall don't understand anybody else, he's gonna get you. When he gets you, he's gonna get you. And he's telling me this for like since I met him when he was working with Yellow Wolf a decade ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? So like Paul has been that champion for me the whole way. So Paul calls and he's like, "Send me the Save Me record." And I'm like, y'all mind if I tell this story first? Because it's hard to get into all
Please.
this.
Yeah. This is what
Because I don't
it's
think
here
I've told this one like his. So Paul calls and he's like, "Send the stems to the Save Me record." He calls John Manili, my manager. Now keep in mind, John Manili managed Jay for a while. So they've already worked. They're friends for real for 30 years now. They've been in the business together for 25 years. My heart is always to bring them together one day because I see so much more of them in each other than they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, I hadn't really brought it up to Marshall yet because I'm just kind of glad that I'm still in that circumference to be able to have them conversations. But I do see like there's so much more in them than not. But like I also gave Kel some perspective too. It's like we all grew up watching Eminem take over the game early. Like, if you got mentioned in an Eminem song, it was like getting mentioned in a comedy
Hell
special.
we did.
You were on fucking fire. You couldn't be hotter if you got mentioned in an Eminem special or an HBO special. You know what I'm saying? An Eminem song or an HBO special is what you wanted your name to be brought up.
I also think that beef between MGK and Eminem, like that verse from MGK was, I think, the most...
It's underrated, actually.
I thought it was rated. Like, I think most...
Is this guy gonna... If he says MGK won, I'm going to fly to wherever the fuck he's at and slap him. MGK did not win shit. Okay? He had a good beat, one good line, something like, you're trying to be the old you so bad you stand yourself, or some shit like that. That was the only bar in the whole fucking song. So let's not get it twisted and pretend like MGK like did some lyrical miracle shit. You know, he put basic fucking rhymes together.
People looked at that and they were like, "Whoa, this was way better than I thought." And then I think Eminem's verse, I don't think people thought that he absolutely knocked him out the park. Like, I thought that the reaction to it was, this is more competitive than we thought it was going to be. So I think that MGK's respect went up.
Well, what's interesting is over time, it's changed. In the moment, I remember that being the response. And now when people look back on it, they're like, oh, Eminem ended MGK's rap career. Because MGK transitioned into other stuff. And so I think the narrative got written.
Eminem did end MGK's rap career. If you put out a diss song, and then you get dissed back, and then you change genres, like, immediately, and your first album after the diss song, or the beef, flops, you got owned. It doesn't matter how you spin it.
I remember in the moment people being like, yo, I don't think MGK necessarily got destroyed. But yeah,
only thing I'll say to touch on this, because I'm on a slippery slope.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful. Just not.
Is everything Andrew just said right now, I want the flagrant listeners to know he said to MGK, I watch y'all have this same conversation together, which I think is super cool. But here's how I feel. Look, man, they're going to get together.
Let's see how he walks the line on this one, because he's friends with both. Let's see how he goes like this on the tightrope, you know, because he doesn't want to slip one way or the other. I mean, I'd rather slip and say some shit about MGK, because it's like whatever, but I wouldn't want to slip and say some shit about Eminem. But let's see how he
it's inevitable. The world's a circle. You know what I mean? And I think that they're going to find each other's heart more than they don't. And if they never do connect that way, I think that it did more for both of them than it did to hurt either one of them. Yeah. Whether either party ever fully acknowledged that. What MGK did after that, I don't think had anything to do with the beef as much as just heart and what his spirit was music. Because he technically dropped, I think, Hotel Diablo was the project right after the M beef. Don't quote me. But it was the mainstream sellout.
And it flopped hard. And he left, tucked tail, and bounced. I mean, I get why he's saying that he doesn't think it was the beef and all that shit, because he's friends with him, but it was definitely the beef. You don't beef with Eminem and then get your name that high up and get that clout, and then change genres
and
after your album flops.
Tickets to My Downfall changed. Yeah. We're talking about a couple of the biggest albums. They'll go down as the biggest albums of this generation in pop, in pop punk and punk rock, and maybe in rock and roll, like new music from new recording artists in 10 years of rock music. I think those albums will be the biggest selling.
Like, how many arena rap acts are there?
You know, we were talking about this before, and
Eminem's like stadium.
I guess it depends what you classify as arena. Like, is there a minimum seating? Like, does it have to be? Because, like, so in, like, sports or whatever, it's, you know, 40,000 plus normally to, like, at least here in Australia, like, in the AFL, to host most of the time, like, any type of finals or whatever. So if you're a rapper, like, stadium is, you know, probably, I would say 50, 60,000 plus. So, I mean, arena... 8,000, 10,000 plus, maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think.
But like arenas around, like Drake.
Hold on, let's go a step deeper. Eminem's a +1 at most stadiums,
so he can do 2 stadium shows.
What? He's a +1 at most stadiums in America.
That's great. I mean, yeah. I mean,
that is true. Like, even here, when M comes, it's most of the time, just because of how far it is, it's 1. But you have to get the tickets like immediately. Like when M gets announced, even all the way down here in Australia, when he gets announced and he's coming, and the tickets go on sale, you need to be sitting there on your computer, hitting like the refresh button like it's Comic-Con, because them shit sell out quick. Like I went to 2014, I think it was, and 2017 or 2018, something like that. And both times I was in Brisbane and the tickets sold out within like 35, 45 minutes.
That's like Taylor Swift shit.
Yeah,
It was
100%.
crazy.
What are the arena acts? It's like Kendrick, Nicki.
Drake.
I think Nicki's
Nicki
built
did
like
arenas.
this unbelievable following.
Yeah.
Nicki did arena. She came to Nashville. And
Travis
sold
Scott.
out on Wednesday.
Travis.
I don't know.
He's a
Hold
stadium
on.
act.
Who
Yeah,
is
he's
Megan and
stadiums.
Glow? Is it a Megan and Glow the package right now? Because they're doing arenas right
Yeah,
now. Megan and Glow together are doing arenas
Oh,
right
But
now.
that's still packaged. Like I'm curious, and maybe Megan's big
Glorilla
enough.
is red hot.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Snoop.
when 50 went back
50
out,
went out and did it.
he was doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm. But then
we're
again,
also
you
just
got
now-
one of the biggest rappers ever. It's like Kanye.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a hard thing for rappers to do. For whatever reason, for as much as we listen to rap, as popular as rappers are, as like seen and noticed and recognized, it doesn't translate to ticket sales in the way that like maybe country does, definitely doesn't, as rock. EDM, you could argue, is like over-indexed. There are EDM DJs that I have no fucking clue their name. There's an EDM DJ named Anima, that is doing the Sphere in Las Vegas, and they've added shows. So now they're at like 6 or 7 shows or
Wow.
something like that for New Year's Eve plus others.
I think we've hit the point. They're going to move on to the next topic. But, I mean, he got some interesting points on, you know, M and MGK being on the same album, trying to get them to work together. I don't know if it'll happen. I mean, tends to hold a grudge. So, especially when you talk about his daughter. So, I mean, I don't hate MGK, and I think it'd be interesting to see what they could achieve on an album, like on a record together. Good luck on his attempt to get these two together, because I really don't think it's gonna happen. But you know, you never know.